Hello, and everybody, welcome to the long-awaited return of the call-in show with me, because the last couple of times it's been hosted by Asim and Gina. They always want to take forefront, and again, when they don't want to do it, they throw it on us. But alongside me today, familiar face, second time on the call-in show, Junior.
Second time, yeah.
How you been, Junior? How you been? You tell me what's going on.
I've been all right. I've had better days. I think I'm probably feeling like every other Liverpool fan at the moment with what's going on with the window and all that. But I'm sure we'll talk about that as we move on tonight. But how are you doing tonight, Sarib? After your little how should I say? It was an entertaining few days, especially yesterday. You feeling bruised? Are you feeling all right?
Now you know what it is, Junior. When you talk Liverpool, when you talk football, when you talk with people like Asim and Jean and Avi, it gets a bit emotional. We're all Liverpool fans. We all want Liverpool to do well. I'm more honest. They're more reactive. They're more, speak with the heart instead of the brain. I speak with the brain, not the heart. And when that happens, it clashes. When it goes like that, it's like a magnet. It just goes like that. Sometimes it falls together, but when you turn the magnet around, it clashes. It's just the force in the middle. But apart from that, I'm okay.
The only thing I want to say tonight is for anyone joining us, be gentle with Sarib, right? Compared to me, he's a bit of a skinny ass, so be gentle with him. He might snap. Be gentle with him tonight.
I'm fine. I can take it. I get all the slander anyway on Twitter from my comments and my DMs. You don't want to see that. You want to see that. But no, Junior. Before we get anyone involved, Junior, I want to ask you because I haven't spoken to you in a long time. Generally speaking, it's our show, but it's your time to speak. Everyone knows my thoughts on the window. What are your thoughts on Liverpool in the last 3 months since Arnie Slot and Richard Hughes, etc., have come into the door? What do you want to talk about?
You know what? I'm going to keep it brief. I'm not happy with the window. I think it's been lackluster. It's been really deflating. I feel like just a few points. The manager hasn't been back. I would expect the manager to be back better than this. This is the third window where we haven't got our main target. It was Tuchemani a few years ago. It was Lavia and Caicedo last year, and this year it's Subamendi. So I feel like it could have been better. If it was a school report that I was giving, I would have said room for improvement. Definitely room for improvement.
Room for improvement. And now, do you think that what's it down to for you, Junior? Is it down to the ownership? Is it down to the people running the model? Is it the model itself? Is it the players that don't want us? Is it the manager? Who are you going to put the blame on? Because we have to point fingers somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's similar to I think Asim and Chin said yesterday. I think if we're going to be fair, it's a bit of both. A lot of the responsibility has to be laid on the ownership's hand because Hughes and the rest of them weren't there last year or the year before. So I think it's a bit of both. I think Hughes and Edwards could have done better, but then again, they're following a system that the owners have put on Liverpool. And like comments have said, like many of you guys have said as well, Liverpool has outgrown its ownership and they need to do better.
They left us short again, Junior. Should we get the thoughts of some other people as well?
I think people are more interested in their thoughts, so let's get someone in.
God. First up, we'll bring out Yuvraj, a big supporter of this channel. He's been on the call-in show many times, Junior, in the past. Yuvraj, been a while since I spoke to you. How you doing, mate? What do you want to talk about?
Good. I'm good. How are you guys? How are you, Junior? How are you, sir?
Oh, good. What do you want to chat about, Yuvraj?
I'm one of the. I don't want to say calm fan of the window, but I'm over it because I've accepted since probably the last 2 weeks we wouldn't sign anyone. We did sign Chiesa, which I'm happy about, but I've just accepted that. Listen, the club are going to go for the first choice. We know how Edwards works. We're always going to go for the first choice. If you reject us, we're not going to buy anyone else. So that's why we revisit Zubimendi deal. By the way, I could see that happening, but I think Windows been all right. I don't think it's been disgraceful in terms of not getting the DM and left back in. But I'm not going to be like Edwards out, Hughes out. It's their first summer, and I'll give them leeway this summer, and that's it. Because to be fair, it's a new structure. It's their first 3 months as trying a new manager. They couldn't actually do the groundwork they wanted usually, to buy players a year before. We didn't really know who the manager was, so I'll give him benefit of doubt this summer. But next summer, I'm not giving any doubts because you have to spend next summer. This summer, okay, fine. You have bit of Next summer, no, you're not getting any futures. You have to spend. You have like I expected much more. I'll be honest, but then again, it's like it's their first summer. So for me, next summer you have to spend. If you don't spend next summer, it's uncomfortable conversations because we've not had a DM for 3 years, 4 years now. So listen, and but on this summer, I don't really blame FSG. I'm FSG out, but this summer for me is on Edwards and Hughes for more because I think the Athletic reported that FSG will sanction the bid for Zumendi. So clearly there was money. We wanted to spend money. Just we didn't get the target we want. So this is. I think just to say this summer, I think it's just been one of those summers where we had targets in place in a way. I think Zumendi. I think that the summer would can is Gordon, Zumendi, and maybe a centre back because I think we wanted Gordon to start the summer. I think that was a plan. We just didn't get the plan over the line. So listen, I do blame Edwards and Hughes this summer more because they did. FSG did back the club. So it's what it is. I'm over the window. I'm just excited for the football now because the window, Liverpool in the transfer market just is depressing. So I'm over that. I can't wait for the season to start. And, you know.
Yuvraj, just try to interrupt you. Do you feel like in previous years we've had our main targets and then we've had a plan B? Do you feel like we haven't had a plan B this year? Or do you feel like Hughes and Edwards just wanted one player, and if they didn't get that, then they weren't going to go for anyone?
I don't think there was a plan B, which is annoying, but I think that's how the club work with Edwards. It's always been like that. Well, actually, not always, but I think that's how it's going to be now because Paul Joyce said it was Zumendi or no one. So clearly, Zumendi was the main guy. And the word opportunistic, I know it's an annoying word, but, you know, it's what it is. I mean,
Zumendi or no one, surely that holds us back. You know, why are we looking for that one player? Why do we feel like there's no one else out there who can do just as good a job?
The sixth market is quite bad, though. I'm not going to lie here. I think the sixth market is not good. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. Liverpool won't spend big. They won't spend 100 million plus, which is we should be spending 100 million plus, but we won't. I do think the sixth market though is kind of this summer wasn't great, and that's why I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying we should have not signed a six. We should sign a six if we're being serious. We clearly wanted one with Zumendi, but it's just the sixth market stinks. So I'm not going to really go on to it.
You say that Liverpool won't spend 100 odd million on a player, but when we've needed a player, we've gone and tried to spend the big bucks. Regardless of us selling Coutinho, we did spend 75 million, which was a world record with Virgil van Dijk. We did break the world record for Alisson when it was at a time until Kepa broke it in 2 weeks. And then we did it for Caicedo last summer. Now people are going to turn around and say it's a PR spin from FSG to bring Caicedo to the football club. But Jurgen Klopp came out in his presser and said that we want Moises Caicedo. The deal has been agreed between the clubs. It's all down to the player now. So how can people turn around and say to me that Liverpool won't spend big when they literally tried to prove it last summer?
You have a point there, to be honest. I just don't see that. I don't know why. I just don't. I think next, like I said, I know it's annoying, guys. Next summer FC, but I do think we spend big next summer. I know it's annoying. Next summer FC back again. I do think next summer we'll spend though, because like I said, they had limited time. By the way, they won nothing. If you run, but I expect next summer to be better spent big, because if we don't, because this summer I'm giving leeway. Like I said, I'll give them leeway this summer. Next summer, there's no leeway. You better spend. I better be us spending 150 million plus next summer. I don't care. Like we should be spending, unless obviously you get the transfer fee down. But yeah, like I said, I'm just over the transfer window. It's just what it is. We didn't get the targets we want. It's what it is. I'm just happy with the Chiesa deal. Brilliant deal. 12 million, 10 million pounds. Mama Deshvili, signing for the future. That's when I'll give praise, by the way. That is a brilliant signing for the future, because you're not going to have a problem with the goalkeeper if Alisson's still, obviously, but when he leaves, you're going to have a world-class goalkeeper back. So I'm just happy with the actual signing itself. We should have signed a DM on left back. We should be, but we just don't. I think my expectations are top. I think keeping Morton is actually a good choice by the club, because we're not signing a six. So for good depth, by the way, keep Morton. I'm actually happy to keep Morton, because for the depth, you're going to need depth. Because if Morton left, you would have had some. It would have been very low, the options. You would have had only Endo, who doesn't even rate. Like if Garbash gets injured, we're done for. So keeping Morton is actually a good plus, because you're not going to sign a six. So man, if we just signed Zumendi with the symbol, perfect. I can't lie, it would have just been phenomenal. like we would have had the squad. So that's what it is. If he wants to stay in the mountains, it's his fault. You know, it's just it's what it is. I'm over the summer. I'm just excited for the football. Like I said, United tomorrow. I'm excited for the football instead. Just fuck the transfer window. Just can't be else with it.
Junior?
No, I agree. I think the only thing that concerns me is we're putting too many eggs in the one basket for next summer, because this year we needed a number 6. Next year we're going to need a number 6 anyway. Then what else are we going to need to do? Surely we're going to be trying to do too much next summer. We've got Salah, who's got contract issue. We've got Trent. We don't know what's happening with him. We've got Van Dijk as well as a contract issue. We need a centre back next year as well. Potentially we also need left back as well, because let's be honest, for a while now we can't. Robbo hasn't been the best that he has been for. We can't rely on Tsimikas as well. Yeah. So my worry is next year we're going to be asking for too many bodies.
Half the team, basically.
I mean, I do think they all extend, by the way. I just have a feeling they all. I think it depends who extends for me. If they all leave, we're kind of fucked.
Yeah, but that's all hope. The fact of the matter is, Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah at this moment in time, next summer will not be Liverpool players. So we can speak hypothetically that they're going to sign contracts. But at this current moment, at this now, as of now, because I always speak of in the now, they will leave next summer on a free.
If they don't extend, then it's not. I'm actually going to be pissed because, like I said,
if you're Salah, you're Van Dijk, you're Trent, why would you extend here? The club is showing no ambition to get good players in. They're showing no ambition to invest in the team properly. They're showing no ambition to go to the transfer market and sign the best players on the market. You look at Real Madrid, they're bringing Kylian Mbappe in. They're looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're probably going to get Xabi Alonso next summer as well when Ancelotti decides to leave next summer. They are going for the best of the best, the creme de la creme on the market. Yeah. How are we? Look at even Manchester United. Look at they managed to secure Lenny Yoro, and I understand that the position that he would have been at Liverpool would have been 5th choice centre back, but they managed to lure him. He only wanted Real Madrid apparently, but somehow they managed to pull him out of Real Madrid's grasp. They've got in Delict, they've got in Mazraoui. We're not asking for 200 million, 300 million. 1 or 2 players to freshen up the squad, because even the greatest managers, Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep Guardiola, they came out and said you can't win with the same squad. It's virtually impossible to win with the same team over and over again, because football, you have to evolve with it.
I think the club clearly want top 4 only, which is annoying, but that's the ambition. Because you're telling me we would have actually gone in the market if we wanted to win the league title. This season, I think we want top 4. The club want top 4, which is annoying, but I think that's our expectations as well this season. I think everyone wants to win the league. I think that's everyone's standard. But let's be realistic here. I think with our squad right now, I don't think we win the league. I think it's pretty much City and Arsenal, but both actually they have miles better squads than us. So it's what it is. I think, like I said, next summer, if Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk don't extend, then it's not looking good, because we're going to have to buy probably. We're talking a left back, a centre back, a right wing, a right back, a left wing potentially if Diaz goes, a striker as well. But I think Darwin might leave next summer, because Darwin didn't get any minutes versus Ipswich, only played 20 minutes versus Brentford, so we probably need a striker as well. So it's looking peak if we don't sign any. If you don't sign any of the 3, because. But personally, next summer you probably do need the same as now, like probably a left back. I think DM you need. Next summer, you need to get a DM. There's no excuse. That'll be like 4 years then. You've not signed DM. So, Endo we signed, but Endo's not the. We need.
In regards to Endo, the manager's made it clear Endo's not his player.
He wants to be Morton over Endo. I think Morton's probably ahead of Endo in the pecking order.
You're right. Question for you, because you just mentioned it earlier. Avi talked yesterday about how Liverpool fans wouldn't want the Arsenal ownership at Liverpool. He felt, and he mentioned it yesterday if you're watching the show, that FSG were better than Arsenal's owners. In this current time, in your opinion, who would Liverpool rather have, Stan Kroenke or John Henry?
They're both, I can't lie, they're both incredibly cheap in a way. I'm honest with you.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not with Kroenke. Since
Josh Kroenke's been in charge, they haven't been cheap at all. They've invested in the team a lot.
We honest, 100 million rest, didn't they? Probably, if you're looking to, Then again, my thing is, it's not all about money, like to win trophies for me. It's not all about money. Like you gotta have a style, you gotta have a leadership in the team. So for me, it's not all about money. And let's not like FSG have spent when they want to. They do have the money. They just don't decide to spend. For
You're
me,
right. Sorry, you can't accuse Arsenal of just being money. You can't. When we talk about money and not having a plan or style, that's Chelsea, and you would be valid to say that we're not like Chelsea. But Arsenal have a particular style of playing. They want a particular style of player. When they want that player, they get that player and they go out. Prime example is Rice last year. They needed a six. They wanted Declan Rice. They paid the money and they got him. So I think. I don't think that point applies to Arsenal. Arsenal have got the money, but they also have a plan and a vision as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you gotta have a vision. Arsenal actually.
Come on,
I don't think they signed a striker, but personally, Arsenal's business this summer. I don't. Obviously, I think coming through is a brilliant signing. That's like, I think Marino. They could have maybe done better with the Marino, but like, and plus Sterling on loan. I don't rate that move because honestly. I don't think Sterling's a world beater. I think their business, they've not closed it on Man City for me. I think if looking at it, I know City have lost Alvarez, I'm not, but City just have that extra. They have that striker, and Arsenal for me needed that striker to level up on that. League. So they didn't sign a striker, and I think they've been left short. Arsenal, personally, probably Marino's out for 8 weeks as well, so you wouldn't.
You say that about Arsenal needing a striker, but ultimately, I believe they outscored everyone in the league, if I'm not mistaken, or they scored the second most goals, which was 91. And I'll get up in a second. I'm not sure.
In the games where you need that, like a 0-0 tight game, like a Jota in a way, you can just score that goal out of nowhere. They just missed that. Like a lot of times, Aston Villa but when they actually lost that game, they missed that striker that can score. But they can score goals, I'm not denying that. But in the big games where you need that out of nowhere goal, I just don't think Trossard is that. But like games like Asim, like last season, you got who else did they struggle? I mean, they're a brilliant record here. Like West Ham at home as well, for example, last season. So I mean, they just missed that type of striker. That's just not that. Also, for me, I still think City win the league this year, but I'm not writing off Arsenal. I think Arsenal are a brilliant team. So
you think so? Man City scored 96 league goals last season. Arsenal scored 91. Yeah. So you think the gap is 5 goals? So Arsenal need this elite number 9, yet they've scored 5 less goals than Man City in the league, and they've conceded 7 less.
I just don't. Man City just have that Haaland, bro. Like had 2 hat-tricks in a row.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm asking you a very simple question. They scored 5 less goals than Man City last season. You're telling me they need an elite number 9 to close 5 goals?
You gotta look at context, bro. Come on.
What do you mean context? They scored 91 goals. What context?
The big games, okay. I'm talking about the actual big games, like the games where they actually need a striker, and they don't have that.
They were unbeaten against the top 6. Bar Villa, they were unbeaten against everyone else. They didn't lose to Chelsea. They didn't lose to Man City. They didn't lose against Liverpool. I don't understand. I'm just trying to make you understand.
Yeah,
I have them to win the title, innit? And I think they're really good. And I think they're the benchmark because we need to forget Man City for a second. We need to cut the gap between us and Arsenal.
I think Arsenal are the benchmark for me. Like I said though, like in that, for example, City away where they actually struggled to get that goal. I think if they had a top number 9, because if they beat City away and they beat West Ham at home, then they won the league. So I'm talking about those games. I'm not saying Arsenal don't score goals, by the way. I think Arsenal Havertz, Saka, and Miley and Trossard over there. There's a good link up. But in the games like those, I'm talking Man City away where they drew, they need that striker to score out of nowhere and get that goal. And I do think they lack that. However, I'm not writing off Arsenal. I think Arsenal, like I said, are a brilliant team. They're closer to Man City than we are, definitely. They're very close. It's just, I don't know, maybe Arsenal prove me wrong, and they probably will, knowing Arsenal mentality. So, but I just don't think. I think he's top number 9 still. But listen, Havertz that finish first today was good. So listen, I'm not writing Arsenal off here, by the way. I think Arsenal, like I said, brilliant team. So
shall we bring Bilal on as well to have a little gupshup with us as well?
Definitely.
Bilal, I know you're a big supporter of the channel. You're a big friend of ours on DNR. How are you doing, Bilal? Assalamu alaikum as well.
Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening. How the boys doing? How we all doing?
Good, good.
Oh, good, alhamdulillah. How are you, Bilal?
Are you?
Alhamdulillah. What's the chat? As always, big up the chat. And of
Pick up your
course,
mic.
our guest here as well today. What's the
Pick up
discussion?
your
What's the
pick up your
topic
Wi-Fi as well. Pick
that
up
we're
your
currently
Wi-Fi.
on? Really, a couple of minutes ago. My Wi-Fi is really bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's keep cutting out every.
Is he on Asda
Yeah.
settings?
You keep running.
Is it any better now?
I mean, yeah, you're not cutting
Yeah,
out now.
Yeah, fine. Man.
Hello.
Hello.
Boys, man. What about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about, Billy?
I want to talk about the biggest club game in the entire history of football or association football, which is tomorrow. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about our feelings. I want to talk about the vibes going into the game. And I want to talk about what the three potential results could mean for us at this point in the season and for the remaining.
The floor's yours, mate.
Yeah, go for it.
You go.
No input from the guys, yeah? Are we nervous? Are we nervous for tomorrow?
I gave my prediction yesterday. This is your show. You speak, I listen. That's how it works.
I'm always done for United game. Let's just say that United Liverpool.
This is your chance to give your opinion. We'll come in.
The way I see it, Arnie Slot can make a statement tomorrow. He can make an absolute statement tomorrow. We've seen in 2 games what he's about. We've seen his play, his philosophy, his build-up, his tactics, patterns of play, formation. And I've been happy. I've actually been impressed. I've been quietly impressed. I didn't want to gas him up too much before the season begun. I was a bit wary of it. Obviously, we can't make comparisons to Klopp because that would be completely disingenuous.
What's
Klopp is his own.
What's impressed you about Slot?
Our ability to keep clean sheets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, when was the last time we actually kept a clean sheet? And not only kept a clean sheet, but we didn't actually look like conceding a goal. We didn't look like conceding a goal at all. Our ability to keep the ball, our ability to slowly build up play and make the extra pass if need be. The thing is, I don't want to talk about Klopp anymore because I find it disrespectful to Arne. But for argument's sake and for the purpose of this conversation, I have to make a reference. The players were embedded with that playoff style for 9 seasons almost. So they've got no choice but to play like that. It's very difficult to reset and then to show that reset within 2 games. But it shows how much these players have come, not only in preseason, but it shows how much good footballers they are mentally. Their football IQ. So it'd be easy for players like Verge, Trent, Mohamed Salah, McAllister, but it's got through to everyone. So it's not that we see players making the same mistakes or trying to force the pass or force the issue. But part of me thought not only did he take off Trent to consolidate the lead and make sure we kept the clean sheet, so 2-1's a dangerous scoreline, they say. But also, I feel that sometimes Trent has to realise that he doesn't have to play the Hollywood ball. And listen, if anyone's got the license to play the Hollywood ball after Steven Gerrard, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold.
It's his ego. I think it's his ego, which is just understandable. That's why he's around.
So that's impressed me from that aspect is that, we're slowing the pace down, we're playing our own game, and to come away from like full throttle, end-to-end basketball, transitional football. Tomorrow, if we don't play the occasion and the nerves don't get the better of us, I see us comfortably winning the game. 1-0 comfortably, 2-0, maybe even 3-0. I don't see an issue. We just have to avoid playing the occasion and don't let Man United make it into a transitional game. The first 10 minutes, if Man United had a brain cell between them, the club and the players, they would go full throttle at us. They'd chuck everything at us to make us nervous because the last 2 times Man United beaten us, Mourinho and Rashford got those 2 quick-fire goals, could have been 3-0. And then besides the FA Cup game, which was the first encounter with Ten Hag 2 seasons ago, again, they could have been 2, 3, 4 up in the first 10, 15 minutes. It just came at us full throttle, and we didn't know what was going on. So if we can just weather that early storm, I think tomorrow is going to be a comfortable 1 or 2-0.
You say comfortable, Bilal, and I completely understand why you think that based on the results that we had at Ipswich and Brentford. But for me, I'm a bit more skeptical, and I'll tell you why. It's
Go on.
because it's Ipswich and Brentford. I'm not going to make a
Yeah.
judgment on the way Slot plays and his style of play and the way Liverpool are playing based on Ipswich and Brentford. No disrespect to those teams. They are not going to be teams that are going to be competing in the top half of the league. I'll be honest. Ipswich are not going to be near the top 6, near the top 10. Brentford might be touch and go between 10th and 12th, 13th, but they're not going to be showcasing the quality of Spurs, United, Chelsea, Brighton, Newcastle, etc., etc., etc. So you need to understand our record at Old Trafford is not very, very good. It just isn't. We've won twice, I think 3 times in the Premier League era that I can remember. That I watched. The Torres, the Suarez, and the 4, and then the 2 5-0s and the 4-2 during COVID. Apart from that, I've not seen Liverpool go to Old Trafford and do well. It just doesn't happen. Even last season, the expectation was to go and beat them at Old Trafford. We beat them twice, and we left with a point and a loss. So you say don't play the occasion, but that was under Jurgen Klopp. The reason why I'm now a bit more worried is because we have a new manager. It's very, very fresh. He needs to install his ideas properly because, again, 1 preseason game and 2 league games is not enough for Arne Slot to get his plan across. And that's why I'm concerned. And that's why I went for a draw. Yuvraj as well, you can come in whenever you like as well, Bilal as well, and you, Junior. I think we are looking at Man United like they're a piece of shit, but we need to understand they can be shit. You look at the game. Regardless if they don't play the occasion will be played because there's 75,000 people in Old Trafford.
I think it's the biggest test for Slot. I think if we win, the confidence booster and heading into national break will be very high. If we lose this game, I think it would be a big dagger for us because the fact that we won 2 games in a row, clean sheet, it would probably break the confidence a bit. If we draw, it's just be like, all right. But I think it'll be a tough game. I think personally, I think United might score first just because I think we'll play the occasion first in the first 20 minutes. I don't want us to, but I think we may just because it is Old Trafford. Like let's not just put United here. I mean, we always struggle there for some reason. It is a derby, so they will be up for it. United will definitely turn up. So I think just don't get past 20 minutes, don't concede, and I think we have the game because you got to just United will have that period. There will be a period game, but United will dominate us. There will be a period. You got to weather the storm, get past that period, get that goal. Because for me, the style we play, it won't be if we go 1-0 up. We won't just go for 2-3. I think we're going to play much more based on what I saw. But Brentford and Ipswich, after the first goal, we didn't just go for it straight away. We just take our time, hold the ball. You can see our possession stats, keeping clean sheets. Alisson don't have to make mad saves anymore. So I think we're playing much more composed. So I think that's going to be take the sting out of the game and score the first goal. So I'm not confident, but then again, I believe in this team and so far, the team's delivered, but this is the biggest test for us. If we win this game, it will prove to us, and a lot of Rabble fans as well, that we are dangerous because Brentford and Ipswich, they're good. I think it's good wins, but they're only Ipswich and Brentford, I'm be honest. It's good performances, but listen, I'm hoping we win. It'll be a state.
Score prediction.
I'm going to back the team, of course. 2-3-1 Liverpool. 2-3-1.
Scorers?
Of course. I think Salah gets a brace. I think Soboslai might get one. And United just go for Rashford because he was scores against us.
Yuvraj, you've been a great guest on the channel. You're always supporting us on the call-in show. I always see you messaging me, always showing me so much love and all the boys. We appreciate all the time that you come on the call-in show, and we look forward to hearing from you very, very soon, mate. Thank you for coming on again today, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Big up.
Bilal?
Do you think the game's going to be won and lost tomorrow?
Junior, I'll let you say it because everyone knows my thoughts already.
Say that again, Bilal.
I said, where do you think the game's going to be won or lost tomorrow? Well, it could be a draw, but I'm hoping, we're going to win.
In midfield, I think. I think that's the main. I think in the middle of the park. I think that's where it could be easily lost or won. For me, anyway. I think I'm not worried about our defense. We've shown we can clean sheets. I'm not worried about our front attacking. I think That goes without saying. For me, I think it could be lost in the middle, in the midfield. But I think just what we've already said, as long as we play the game and not the occasion, we should be fine. And personally, I'm quietly confident. I'm looking at a 2-1 score. I think Salah will get his goal, and I think Jota. So and I think I predict Rashford will score as well. So I'm going quietly confident it's a 2-1. I don't think it's a draw. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for us.
2-1, no clean sheet then, eh?
No, I've just got a feeling. Yeah,
especially in these games, Bilal. I think because United, I think they have very, very dangerous players on the transition. Look at Rashford, Garnacho, Xerxes, very, very intelligent. They got Anthony off the bench. As much as you say that these players are not in good form at the moment, they can hurt any team when they're on it. And Marcus Rashford does tend to turn up when he's playing against Liverpool, especially at Old Trafford. So I'm expecting him to turn up again tomorrow because he always does. And the likes of Anthony, who didn't score a goal until he played against Liverpool, he scored one league goal and then he scored in the FA Cup against Liverpool. This always happens to us, doesn't it? It always happens to us.
The thing is, those very players who are transitional have been way out of form. They haven't been performing well, and Ten Hag started on and off the season, just about got the win against Fulham. And then even though you say that it's early to anticipate if Arne Slot's way has been sustained by these players, but I think he's shown anything but why we'll be able to sustain it because of these 2 games.
I just don't think the midfield is strong enough, and I think that will become more evident tomorrow. I think people are on this Gravenberch hype train, really, really impressed by his performances, by the way. But I think in the bigger games, when it comes to crunch time, regardless of where Man United are on the table, this is Liverpool's arguably biggest game that we're going to play this season in terms of rivalry between 2 clubs. I think that's where we're going to see how exposed the midfield will be. I think Szoboszlai at times on the ball, is not the greatest, and sometimes the ball can just bounce off him a bit. Ryan Gravenberch is still very, very inexperienced in that 6 role. McAllister, this is a new role for him as well, alongside a new partner in Ryan Gravenberch.
Remember, Man U are going to be up for it. Not like they're not up for it anyway. Remember, we've got an international break after this. They've come from a loss as well, so they'll want to prove a point as well, so making them even more dangerous, especially at home.
Bilal?
Boys, is my voice coming across all right? Or am I still like as the Wi-Fiing out?
No, you sound fine.
Yeah, you sound fine now.
Yeah, sorry about that before. The thing is, the most dangerous player Man United have, I'd say, is probably Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. The first time passes, line-breaking passes, but they've just been out of sync. Like Bruno was horrible and Rashford just been so badly out of form. Yeah, they'll turn up because it's at home and they'll turn up because it's Liverpool. But honestly, I think we're underestimating how much of an impact, albeit it's been in 2 games, Arne Slot has had. Because you have to understand 9 seasons worth of pummeling and drilling into the mindset of how to play like Robertson. Robertson's all of a sudden been able to reset in 2 games to come back and play that third centre back. Like if you watch Abdul Wakil and Asim's 2 tactical shows, brilliant analysis. And if anyone hasn't watched them in the chat, please go check them out. Because for a player like Robertson, who people were signing off and thought, you know what, he can't be a starting player anymore. For all of a sudden, for him to be able to engage on the ball, then off the ball, being able to set structure, set back 3, and start again so quickly, it speaks volumes of how much of a good coach and communicator Arne Slot is. And this is why I'm feeling it's not just, yes, Ipswich were newly promoted, but they've been together. The team, the manager has been together for almost 4 years now. And similarly, Brentford have been in the Premier League. I think this is their 3rd season. And their manager's been with them for 5-6 years as well. Those teams are set in the style of play. They're set in the way they build up. They're set in the way that they defend. And to be fair, Thomas Frank actually came with a different mindset. He actually came to attack us coming to the Premier League game for the first time at Anfield. He thought we were going to play transitional. We're at home. It's our first home game. We're going to play like Klopp did. But Arnie shocked him, and he didn't know what to do. And to be fair, in both games, the only time we've even remotely looked like conceding is from a corner or a cross. And if anything, if Man United had anything about them, that's the only way they can score. So maybe if De Ligt starts, that's something we have to be wary of. But besides that, Xerxes is not known to be brilliant in the air. But if they actually do play a containing game, and if they do try to play counter-attacking football, they've got something close to Firmino in terms of stylistically. Obviously not quality, because Bobby's Bobby.
He's still talking. You cut out for me.
No, I just stopped talking. I finished making my point.
Junior, he says Man United players are out of form. Rashford, Garnacho, Xerxes. But honestly, I watched that game against Brighton, especially in that first half. I thought they were really, really good, and I thought they were just very, very unlucky in the game. And that can happen. You go to a team like Brighton. Look how many years we've struggled there under De Zerbi, under Poto. I can't tell you the last time we won at Brighton away. We didn't win last season. The year before that, they battered us. They beat us in the cup.
They're not an easy team. They're not an easy team.
Brighton are not easy team. And we saw today at the Emirates, regardless of Arsenal with 10 men, Brighton had a lot of chances in that match. They were dominating the ball for a large period. So I think, yes, against Fulham, first game, but I think everyone was bad in the first game. I look at City against Chelsea. I thought that game was a bit cagey and a bit weird. Both teams didn't look great. Liverpool against Ipswich in that first half, we didn't look great. It took us a bit of time to integrate and get into our full flow. In the second half, we saw the chains come off and Liverpool were relentless.
Wait, sorry to interject. I've got a quick question for you and AT as well. Say if this fixture had come after 10 games, and say after 10 games we were sitting in a position of 1-8 drawn 2, and it was set the way we were playing, it was similar, so it continued in these 10 games. Would you feel any differently going to Old Trafford then?
Absolutely, because I'm always cautious going to these games, but obviously I have more of a sample size to work with. I think 2 games is not enough, and I've always made that point. One preseason game with our fully fit squad and then 2 league games against teams that are in the lower half of the league is not enough for me to analyze how Liverpool are going to do this season, especially in the bigger matches, because we haven't played a big team yet. You make a fair judgment on a team after 10 matches. And I think after 10 matches last season, we arguably knew who was going to be in the title race, and that was Spurs, but Spurs fell off City, Liverpool, and Manchester City. We knew that those 3 teams are going to be the teams running away with the title, and that's what arguably happened. I think 10 games, 15 games, I'd feel a lot more different because I have more space to work with rather than 2 or 3 matches.
This is my point. It's only because of the small sample size.
Yeah, that's fair.
Are you thinking that we're possibly going to struggle tomorrow? Whereas I believe, from what I've seen, and again, because it's only a small sample size, that's the only thing that can be used against it. I'm confident that Slot's not going to change no matter what, and he's going to make sure that the players express his mindset on the pitch. Hence why I'm so confident that we'll make it a comfortable victory tomorrow, even at 1-0 or 2-0 tomorrow. I don't see it going any other way. And the only thing that can work against us is if the players start to play the occasion. And that comes down to the coaching staff and the manager to give them the confidence.
Exactly.
Beyond that,
they can't play the occasion. They have to play the game. They can't lose their head and not let the game influence them in terms of their emotions.
And the thing is, not only has you got a chance to stamp down a marker, we can go joint top tomorrow, because obviously Sarib, mine and yours, second team Arsenal dropped 2 points today. But don't worry, Sarib, don't let that get to you. Everyone thinks I'm an Arsenal fan anyway, so. Or I always say they're my second team, and Man City can be our third team. Boys, 1 second. I'll be back online. Just give me a couple of minutes.
No worries. Sarib, who else have we got behind the studio?
We got Faz in the backstage. Faz, if you do want to join, mate, just throw your camera on, throw your mic on, and me and Junior will be able to run the show for you. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to bring somebody else in, mate. Faz, you there, mate? Just turn your camera on so I can actually know if you're available to talk, because I can't tell you, mate, can I? Or drop a message in the private chat.
While Sarib's talking about doing that, I just want to, we haven't already mentioned it. Please smash a like, give us a follow, share this page. I don't know how many people there are in this chat tonight, but come on, guys, give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe. So I'll just get that in this.
Faz said his camera's not working, but we'll get him on anyway. Faz, I don't know if you've been on the call before, but welcome to the Born and Red Youth channel. Welcome to the call. Yeah. What do you want to talk about today, mate?
Yeah, Salam. I just wanted to talk about the match tomorrow, and as well as the transfer window as well. I've kind of I've watched the show. I've been watching you guys for quite a few months now, and congrats for the progress you've been making. You're almost 11K in, so that's really, really good. And I like the different opinions between all four of you, especially you, Sarib. I'd like to think you're the voice of reason, but then there's a lot of things I don't agree with you about. So, yeah. But anyway, in terms of tomorrow, looking at a lineup, usually I get a bit scared about the Man United game, but with Jota being at the front, I'm not. I'm kind of a bit more confident about it than I usually am. So that's what's giving.
It'll be the same team as last week. The same starting lineup.
Is it going to be the same team as last week?
Same starting lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be the same starting lineup. Yeah, so it's going to.
Liverpool's going to lose tomorrow.
Sorry about that. I've got my cousins in the same room as me.
No, that's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Bring him on.
Sorry.
Bring him on.
No, he's not a big football fan. He's just here to annoy me.
Okay.
Sorry. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, the lineup, the starting 11. I think it's going to be it's the same ones that we had when we played Brentford, and it's it's the same formation as we had. Now, we will concede, but I think we'll concede after we're in the lead, and I think it'll be like a 3-1 type of game. It won't be a comfortable 3-1, but they'll be putting the pressure on. I think it's the biggest test, and it's really going to see where we're at, and it's a litmus test because it's at Old Trafford. We haven't won there in quite some time.
Yeah,
and we the last time we won in Old Trafford was going back 21-22 season. The 5-0. So I think it's not going to be an easy test, but it's a litmus test, and I think a draw will be a failure, and that's how we should view it. And if we do win,
wouldn't you say that's a little bit harsh on Slot? It's his third game. If he draws or loses, is that really?
The only reason why I say that is that Man United are open, and the way that we play now on the counter, I know how compact we are. We should have success against Ten Hag's style, more success than we did with Klopp's. And we've got better players. We've got more seasoned players.
But as I alluded to earlier, the players are still getting used to the system.
Yep.
The players are getting used to the system. I agree, but at the same time, it's more or less the experience in the end, isn't it? And you can't really say that for Man United. Maybe Rashford.
But you say that, but they've had the same manager for 3 years.
But the players are different. A lot of the players aren't the same players, are they? They're not as seasoned as we are.
Why?
They don't you know this as well as I do. They don't have guys like Van Dijk. They don't have guys like Salah. They don't have the seasoned type of players that we have.
And
they don't have Alisson type of players.
I understand that. I completely agree with what you're saying. But my whole thing is, you talk about seasoned players and you talk about Slot has got this team playing this magnificent type of way, but he's only had 3 matches with this team. And regardless, this is why I think where the Van Dijk Salah thing is not relevant. They've been playing that same system under Klopp for 7-8 years. Now they've had to shift that system in the space of a couple of months. Yeah. That's where that we're going to have an issue. Whereas Eric Ten Hag has worked with Rashford for 3 years. He's worked with Anthony previously at Ajax. He's worked with Garnacho for the last 2 years. He knows Xerxes very, very well. He's worked with De Ligt in the past. He's worked with Mazraoui. He's worked with Onana. He's worked with Maguire. You talk about seasoned players, but Ten Hag has worked with the majority of these players in his career and at Man United. Yeah,
but the tempo of the game, I agree, has changed a bit. But even when Klopp was here, there were times where we adjusted, which people forget about. And I'll give you an example. Like 2 seasons ago when Man City came over to Liverpool when Man City came over to Anfield, we changed our style. So Klopp wasn't high pressure at all. He played on the counter. I mean, there's times that we've changed our style, and I think, it's not a massively different. The way that you talk about it is it's almost radically different to what Klopp used to play. It's not that much different.
It's certainly more controlled. It's slower.
Yeah, it's not as high tempo, but at the same time, like there's no evidence of any teething issues at all at this point. If there was an issue, you would have seen it against the lower echelon teams. Like you would have seen it against Brentford. You would have seen it against, these teams, and we haven't really seen it. They haven't really, we've not really conceded at all, and we've not really looked like we're going to capitulate.
But surely, no disrespect to Brentford and Ipswich, they're a different level to Man United.
Yeah, but hear me out. Just hear me out here. If you've got two people, like if you're playing a double pivot, and if you've got a Brentford team that is physically, like, all they have is physicality, they can outmuscle whoever you've got in who's in the midfield, in the middle of the park. You have to agree with that, yeah. And they didn't even come close to doing that, and that's what gives me confidence that, like, the players have adapted to it, and it shouldn't be a problem. Tomorrow.
Just before you continue, Faz, I was decided. You know what? Let's just make this a rampant debate now. So, Al Hassan, welcome. I don't think I've ever spoken to you before. How you doing, mate? And Sheza, I've spoken to you before. How are you doing? Al Hassan, you there,
I'm
mate?
doing well.
Yeah, I'm here. And you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the transfer window. Shall we?
Go for it.
Go on, floor's yours.
Before you go, Faz, Sheza, you will get a proper introduction. I'll definitely let him say his opinion because I know you were waiting before. But guys, come in whenever you like.
I'm happy for the kid to go. Go for it.
Okay, come in whenever you like, boys. This is not a controlled show. We want chaos. We want Gene, Avi, Sarib.
Yeah, I might have to jump off. Yeah, I might have to jump off later on. But
No
yeah,
problem.
go on.
Go for it.
I've just got to say that I've been a bit frustrated with the transfer business this summer window and the lack of incomings. I think when we've got a new manager and he requests for a defensive midfielder, I think we should go and get at least a defensive midfielder, even if that isn't Subimendi. And I think Edwards and Hughes already should have a replacement for Subimendi if that deal doesn't fall through. So I'm just a little bit frustrated with that one because the defensive midfield position is like the clear problem in the squad, and we can see that Arne doesn't even rate Endo, so we doesn't have that defensive midfielder.
But Al Hassan, you said Zubimendi was the one that we wanted, and you've made the point where why didn't we go for somebody else? But who is that player?
For me, that player. I think that player is what was his name? Edison from Atalanta. I think he's good defensively. But the only problem is maybe his ball.
Have you seen him play? Have you seen Edison play?
Yes, I've seen him play.
Have you seen him play though?
Yes, I've seen him play.
Okay, and does he play in a double pivot?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, so the problem is the style is a completely different style, and he would have not suited Slots. He's suited more Klopp style, but not Slots play.
Yeah, I understand.
That's from what I've seen, and I don't know.
Yeah, I understand, but that was like my player if I wanted it. But yes, it's true. There isn't like a clear defensive midfielder in the market, and I think right now I'm happy with Ryan, and we shall see if he can hold up his form throughout the season, and hopefully we can try to get Subimendi in January or the next summer.
Just on that point, Shazza, I'll let you say what you want to say, but he says that we need to get number 6, but there was no available 6 on the market if we didn't get Zubimendi. So which boat are you in? Would you rather not sign Zubimendi and sign no one because no one fits the profile, or would you want to sign a stopgap like a Ugarte or Varela, players that maybe don't suit the style of play? Because in my personal opinion, I wanted a number 6. But I couldn't tell you a name on the market that was the profile that Slot wanted. I think Zubimendi was the perfect one. Adam Morton, I don't think is enough matches. I've always made the point. He is the Slot type of number 6, but 17, 18 Premier League games is not enough, and we won't do that deal.
So I think the issue here isn't just specific to who. I think it's kind of wider. I think Slot coming in, I'm of the camp that he obviously needed some time to adjust and assess his players. Obviously, it's like taking a picture. It's not the same when you look at it with your own eyes in that sense, right? It doesn't matter how good your iPhone is or Samsung, depending on which side of the fence you're on, right? So I think the issue here really is about we've had a structural problem in assessing our targets. Let's ignore the laptop for a second, because the data nerds have led us to believe that we have a sophisticated mechanism of targeting, and I think for me the problem goes beyond this season. I mean, so beyond recruiting for this season, right? We've known since sorry, I'm getting some feedback on my mic. Headphone. We've known since Genie left, since Fab went. Thiago's been in the medical room more than we would have liked. Surely we've seen that for a number of seasons now. So for us, I think it's, for me personally, and obviously opening up to a conversation, I think it's a complete red herring if we're going to say that we couldn't find the perfect player now. Yes, there's a debate which is to the side of this. There's a side argument here, which is what is this perfect player that we want? Because of the tactical amongst us, as sort of saying, our style of play is play, and progressive passing, all that stuff. And I'm not going to draw triangles. We leave that to somebody else, right?
Asim.
Yeah, we leave it to the others. I watch football with my eyes, and they're round. They're not triangles. And so therefore, being in a position where we've put a structure in place. This is why I want to discuss this, and obviously we'll talk about I want to present my view on the United game. I think for me, it's more about structurally we've had a problem in our transfers. And I was, me and Asim, have discussed this at length over the last couple of seasons, where people who said Klopp had the money but he didn't spend it. I think it's complete nonsense. So we have to structurally understand, and it's taken us a long time to basically now, for some of us, as in from the BNR panel, who are in a position where look, the model's flawed. We're in a different kind of era, right? So I think for me, let's look at it structurally rather than the fact that. But to answer your question, and not to be a politician about it, I think we should have said we should have had a few targets. And if Zubimendi was the only target, then if that's the criteria, if he was the only target, I'd rather be in a position where we didn't sign, then obviously go for a last ditch kind of effort. But I think just the premise that we just had Zubimendi, I think that's flawed. Above and beyond. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was going to come in there. We're all focusing on about the number 6 and the DM position, but no one's even mentioned the fact that we never even replaced Matip. What about that position? What about the centre back position? Why aren't we concentrating? Why haven't we found a replacement for Matip and concentrating on that? We've got Van Dijk, who's on the wrong side of 30. He's going to need managing. We've got Kwanzaa, who's still young, but obviously, the manager has opinions about him, which is perfectly obvious. We've got Kanate, who's injury prone, and we've got Gomez, who's pretty much made it clear he wants to leave. So surely that's been a problem. We haven't even been focusing on that, and it's interesting no one's mentioned that yet.
I think we have issues across the pitch. I'll let others come in. I'll be brief on the answer to this. I think we've got issues, in the CB position. Obviously, cover for a decent cover for Robbo. Obviously, Robbo struggled in the first game. He was obviously better in the Brentford game. Obviously, as the season evolves, obviously, hopefully he stays injury free. Can he play in the system? And also, when we're playing against teams, low block, we don't have Joe on the flanks. What happens next? So I think there's a number of positions that we're lacking, and I think that comes back, and the reason why I mentioned it comes back to a scenario of our structural way of how we're doing it. Obviously, I'm not even going to go into who we haven't given, we haven't had transfer, negotiations with, contract negotiations with, but I think it comes back to this whole point. We're out of position, right? Obviously, the likes of Jake and others, they feel we're in a position where we're rebuilding for the future. But I don't want to build for the future. I think I don't repeat somebody else's words, but I want to win now. As a fan, we want to win now. And we've got these, we're relying on this season being completely almost perfect for us to even stand any chance of a good good UCL run, as well as obviously try to stay up with the likes of the City, and as much as it pains me to say it, or Arsenal as well.
Who does the book stop with, in your opinion? The ownership or Hughes and Edwards in terms of this window?
The ownership put those people in place. If we're gonna go, hierarchy, we've got to go there. But if we then sort of say at least the hierarchy put in place some structure, and therefore they then rely on those people, then I think the buck's up there. Obviously, look, we have to give credit where credit's due. Credit is due in the sense that they've made some shrewd, outgoings. The fact that we signed Chiesa off the back of a sell-on for Solanke. There's some shrewd. Exactly. Hockey assist, if you want to call it, right? That's shrewd in that sense. So we've got to take. We've got to understand the fact that where the club is run in a more responsible way, and that's a good thing. But ultimately, to have ambition, you've got to have some element of risk. That we for a club of our size and our stature. Look, I watched Kiesa's video. Obviously, those who don't know me, Italian football, early days of been following, the Juventuses and the old lady and that team. So I kind of know it well, right? So Chiesa coming, and I watched the 11 minutes of his, vlog. Just what actually gave me like excitement, but kind of slight little bit of pain at the same time, when he was looking at the PL trophy and the UCL trophy. And I just thought, man, this guy's, he's got, his eyes lit up when he saw it, and he wants to do that. But then I thought, I feel sorry for you, because, the people who've employed you, right, or who are going to pay your wages, they don't have the same glare that you have in your eyes. And that's, for me, that's the crux of the issue here.
You know what? I'll say this, like, selling all these players, selling all these kids, I've got a theory about it. I think
theory. We love a theory here.
Yeah, I think Michael Edwards and Klopp, they never really got along. And
yeah,
I think the whole thing, part of it, not all of it, but part of it was the ego between Edwards and Klopp. And Edwards wanted to remove like Klopp's fingerprint on the club. And that was part of the reason. Like, that's part of it, not all of it. I think there's some talent that's involved, and maybe they were not good enough. But it was a Klopp's kids that won us the, Carabao Cup. We can't forget that. They came on in the end. They won it for us. And now, like, you've gotten rid of an underbelly that was important, and that still would have been important moving forward, considering we haven't made any proper signings, apart from a right winger that, that can also play left wing. That wasn't high on the priority list, but like, we needed all hands on deck. And right now, we're just a couple of injuries away from.
Maybe I don't understand your point, but what has not signing enough players got to do with next relationship with Klopp?
Like, let me say this, like, like, Klopp was really into the academy. He always said this. He said that even Pep Linders was quite big into the academy. Even in his book, he said that we don't really go into the transfer market because our academy is our transfers, and that's what it says in his book. And he was really, really big on the academy players. And Klopp was the type of person who was willing to give them a chance, and he was hyping up a lot of these players, even the ones that we sold. And if he was still around, and had he not decided to leave, I think we would have seen a lot. Stefan Bajcetic would have never gone on loan. a lot of these players would have not been. Maybe Vanderberg would have been sold, but a lot of them would have stayed. Bobby Clark, he was quite big on. He was very, very big on Bobby Clark. So I don't know. I think part of it is they were not good enough, but at the same time, I think part of it was ego driven because they just wanted to remove the fingerprints of Klopp and the mark he had on the club, and the biggest mark he had was through the academy. And tabula rasa, as they say, you start from the beginning again, and you go again with a different coach with a different philosophy. And I think at least for this season, because we haven't made any signings in the summer, the thing about football and the thing about football is it's a war of attrition.
Yeah.
It's a war. You're fighting on multiple fronts. We've got added games in the Champions League. You've got the FA Cup. You've got the League Cup. You've got the Premier League as well. It's a war of attrition, and your men get wounded, for lack of a better term. You get casualties along the way, and you accumulate the losses. And where are we going to replace these players? Who are we going to replace them with? That's a problem. We didn't invest in the summer, and coming in January, clubs around us are going to know how desperate we're going to get, and they're going to hike up the prices. Do you think FSG are going to put in the money that we need to buy these players that we need? Do you think clubs are willing to?
Not.
They're not exactly.
They're not. So I got a question for you. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Faz.
Faz. Yeah.
Yeah, Faz. Yeah, Faz, a good question for you, right? So Edwards coming back, right? Is part of the problem. I've got two questions for you, right? And for anybody on the panel, right? So number one, does he feel he's in a slightly protected position when he came back as because of so much fanfare from a large contingent of our fan base that over the moon, even the show was, right, when he came back, right? So that's is he absolved at the moment that he thinks because we hold him in such regard as a fan base? And then the second point question I've got for you isn't the issue that I see is that yes, we've got to give credit to Edwards, Ward, and everyone else, right, who did what they did to give us the success that we had over some of those Klopp years, right? But has the game changed now that Moneyball approach can also work again? Because if it was that Edwards saw that Moneyball could work, why would he get rid of the academy kids? So yeah, that's a question I've got.
Yeah, the whole thing about the Moneyball thing is that it was kind of like Moneyball, this transfer window, where you saw the players and you had the money, but you didn't decide to buy anybody. So if we can forget, okay, they didn't recognize the six. That's that's fine, and we can argue about that later on. But then what about this centre back? So the thing about it is that if there's an issue in the middle of the park with the six, then that's fine. But then what are you going to do to help the centre back issue? What about the left back issue? And that's where the argument falls apart, where it's not really about the money ball. It's it almost feels like that. It almost feels like they couldn't be asked. They thought that the players they had were good enough to go again, and this has always been the case with them. No matter where it has been. Let me put it to you this way: back in the 20 to 21 season,
okay,
we were top of the league by Christmas time. I remember this, and then all of a sudden, all the defenders, they got injuries.
but that can happen.
But hear me out. But how many of these other clubs, think about it, Chelsea, Man City, even Man United, they're not a top club, but they're just let's say for argument them. Do you think they would have allowed it? They would have not gone into the market and bought a defender, because that would have been our second Premier League right there. We were on top of the Premier League. We were, we were up there. we were up there, and all we needed was to sustain that thing, and all we needed was the right players, and we didn't go into the market for it.
But Faz, I want to play devil's advocate.
I was
Oh,
going to at that time in January, we were all screaming out for the defender. Again, it was a case of we were waiting for Konate for the summer. So similar to now, I agree with your point. It's like if you're going for the league, you go all out to get that player, to get the replacement, regardless if he's a stopgap. And similar to now, it's a case of, well, we can't get that player in January, we'll get him in the summer.
Just to play devil's advocate, because I don't agree with this point, but just to play devil's advocate, just for conversation purposes, and all of you can get involved. Adnan as well, we would love to hear your thoughts, and Al Hassan, you can get involved as well, mate. Faz, just on your point, do you think there was a sense of, because it was the COVID year, fans had not been in the stadium for, at that point, January, a good 7, 8 months, 9 months, if that. Funds were very, very low in terms of we weren't getting the revenue from stadium adventures and fans coming to the stadium, merchandise, etc., etc., etc. And I'm not saying this is a point, but I think this could be some sort of relevant. Do you think they invested in the summer with Thiago, with Jota, they brought players in, Simicas, etc., etc.? Maybe they didn't have the money to do it in that period of time. Maybe I completely understand in previous summers, like the year after we won the Champions League, that summer didn't make sense to me. That's why I alluded to the point where they gave us Elliot, Vandenberg, and Adrian to go and compete again, and the squad did compete, but that would have set you back a few years because you can't keep running the same team and expecting the same result.
Yeah, bro, it's too much of a coincidence. Like you look at the number 6. Like we were in for Jude Bellingham. There was all this bullshit about Jude Bellingham. We couldn't get Chouameni. Oh yeah, we're going to go for Jude Bellingham. We had all this hoopla about Jude Bellingham for a year, and then we didn't even bid for him. We didn't even bid properly for him, and then Real Madrid took him. Like there's too much of a coincidence, and it's the same broken record every flipping year with this ownership. And I don't buy into it. I don't buy into this whole thing. Oh yeah, it was COVID, because I've seen the same story so many times now. I've seen the same movie so many times now that I don't buy into it anymore. And it's like, I'm kind of like it's for me. It's like I'm talking from the heart here, but it's like I don't want to, because it's not worth it anymore. Like all of us in this on here who've supported Liverpool, we're exhausted by it now. Like we've seen this year in, year out. It's not fair at all to, as a fan, just to see through this. And we're always just just only a little bit so close, a point away from getting a Premier League. And then we're just one player short, and that one player could have made all the difference.
Yeah, I'm with Faz on this. We're constantly in this thing. I'm not going to repeat what he just said, but the same script rolls out each year. It's just a different banner at the beginning of the movie, right? It's the same thing that plays out. We're always 1 or 2 players short to be able to, and obviously, we want to forget about Klopp to kind of give respect to Slot, but Klopp should have won way more than he did. So his notion of, I think Faz is also expressing, I've run out of energy, right? And I think as fans, we're in that same position. Yes, we won a Carabao Cup, so we got a bit of energy from that. But the kind of rejuvenation isn't there really, because it's we got excited that we will get some players in. It hasn't really materialized. So for me, if we going on the point that this keeps on happening, it then goes back to the structural problems that we have. And as a fan base, it's about recognizing that, look, this story repeats itself, right? Whether we're going to point it to a single player or whether we struggle with somebody else, the story repeats itself, which is quite tragic in some ways.
Exactly. I think I totally agree with both of you. The same patterns are there. The same story just keeps repeating itself. There was no COVID in 22. There's no COVID in 23. And there's certainly no COVID currently at the moment. So it's the same. We just seeing the same patterns and the same story to constantly repeat itself. So I don't agree with you, Sarib, in terms of the whole COVID excuse for that. No.
I know I was playing devil's advocate.
You're a little devil, aren't you?
I try. But guys, I do want to keep the conversation running. Faz, thank you very much for your time. I'll need to get the conversation rolling, but you can come back anytime you have a call-in show, mate. Do call in. We'd love to hear your views, and thank you very much for coming on to the BNR call-in show. Bye-bye. Adnan, you've been a bit quiet, uncle. I don't know if you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Camera? No camera? Shy?
No, camera's on.
There we go, Adnan. There we go. Kya hal hai?
Oh, alhamdulillah, it's all good. You?
There's two of us on tonight. I thought you were talking to me then, Sarib.
I'm gonna call you Junior. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to? Shaz, I know you wanted to give your little review of Man United, but we'll definitely get into Man United as well. But Adnan, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum. What do you want to talk about?
Well, Islam. Yeah, it's just FSG in it. The same old story. We get told that we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We're gonna bring this player in. They give you all the fans the full advertisement. They get us all happy, ready. They did the same thing with Bellingham. Oh, don't worry, he's coming. We've got everything ready. We've got the contract. We've got the money. We've got everything. And what happens? He goes to Real Madrid. We did the same with every single season. We do the same thing. Klopp had every 2 seasons he was supposed to add a player to that team, and Klopp would have won more. Every time when we had a chance to win the next season, they didn't back him. The reason why we didn't win as many league is because they didn't back him. We had injuries throughout. With the way Klopp plays his football, you have to add 2 fresh players every time in order for them to survive with the injuries that some of these players will get. But because if you look at how big club that Liverpool are, we shouldn't have a net spend on minuses that low. You look at teams for this season, if teams who come from Championship will spend more money than us, that just takes the mick. As a club like Liverpool, we sold players and we still didn't spend that money. So it's like we're always having this money, they're selling players, but they're not putting it back into the club. They're using our name, our club, and going buying another club. They're looking for another club. I'm sorry, but your priority should be Liverpool Football Club. You've bought our club. Your priority should be our club, no other club. You shouldn't be thinking about anything. Your money was invested when they sold some shares. Where's that money gone? Nowhere. We haven't seen that money. You're supposed to put that money into our club. These fans pay loads of money that go to the stadiums that they expect something back from that. You look at these, though. I think our owners are happy for top 4. If you give them top 4 the next 10 years, they'll be happy. They're not worried about trophies. If they wanted trophies, they would give that money to managers. It's like, look, Fergie, every couple of years he will bring fresh face. Why? To give that competition to them players when they get settled. You know, when you have a team and they think, oh, I'm all right, my position is settled, then they slack a bit. But if you put couple of fresh faces, they think, oh, sugar, my position's in. I've got to play my top game in order for me to keep my position. So this routine of FSG is, yeah, it's a good model. We understand that, but you need to back that model up. Then
Adnan, apart from the DM position, which other position do you feel needs more competition?
We should have had a left back. I'm sorry. We should definitely have had a left back. Robbo is coming back from injuries. He's not the same. So we should have had a left back sorted ages ago. They can't tell me on that database that they've got, whatever stupid database they have, they could not find a left back. And I can guarantee you, I'll go tomorrow and I'll really find loads of left backs. Then they needed a centre back to cover because Matip's gone. You've got Gomez now, who's in 2 minds because you wanted him to go with the Gordon deal. So he's not going to be up for it. So you've only got Konate, Van Dijk. Konate, I hope the brother stays fit. He is a brilliant player, but he's injury prone. So you've only got Konsa and Van Dijk. I'm sorry, but you don't win league titles with them 2 players. You won't win league titles, you need another top defender. And you're trying to tell me on that database they didn't have a defender. They had 3 months to go find a defender. And they said, oh, we're thinking about a number 6. What about flipping different?
Adnan, who's on your database in terms of the left back? Who would you have signed?
Left back?
Yeah.
That Wolves one?
Yeah, knew straight away. Eight Nuri.
Yeah, he's Premier League player. He plays at Wolves, so he would have been brilliant for him. He's young, he's energetic, he goes up and down, and he would have been perfect for slots football. He can pass the ball, he can move around, he's young, and he would have been perfect for us. This is the thing, is that our owners it's like, no, I don't want to pay that extra 5 million. I'm sorry, if you want to win something, you have to put the money where you got to pull that money out. I'm sorry. It's not, oh, we'll look for the bargain deals. Or Zubimendi's 51 million, but there could have been someone else on that database. I can guarantee you that there's other players out there in the world with their database that would have been a carbon copy of Zubimendi. But what it is, no, we don't want to pay that 10, 20 million extra.
But you say that, Adnan, but who's that player?
They would have players there on that database. We don't. If you look at it, you're trying to tell me in the whole football world they only saw Zubimendi. There are players out there I can guarantee you in South America there are players there that they can pick up.
But if they didn't database, why didn't they go for them then?
Why? Because they don't want to pull the money out. FSG's always been like that. You look at Jude Bellingham. We were told that we're going to get him, but they didn't pull the money out. And what they did with the Casado, it was just a PR stunt. Oh, we put it in. We put the money there, and if you wanted, I guarantee you, if you wanted Casado, if you went at the beginning of the transfer, he would have come to us.
That's true.
Why did you have to wait right at the end? So I'm sorry, but Casado said it. He goes, I've gone too far with Chelsea that I can't say yes to Liverpool now. Why didn't you go? If you wanted Casado, why didn't you go right at the beginning of the transfer? I'm sorry. If you have money, you should have said to them, right, here's the money. Go get me Casado. Go talk to him.
But Adnan, you make that point, but during that time, Fabinho was still at the club, and Fabinho was an opportunistic sale. We were not going to sell Fabinho. The only reason we sold Fabinho in the summer of 2023 is because we got the money we paid for him. Otherwise, he'd still be a Liverpool player at this moment. That's the only reason Fabinho is not at this club. You could tell me his level dropped off, but we were not interested in selling Fabinho if we didn't get the money back. So that's why we went in for a number 6, because we already had a number 6 and Bajcetic available already. So going for a number 6 didn't really make sense, even though we needed one because we had 2 already. So that's why we didn't go in for Caicedo at the start of the window, even though I disagree with that point where you make, where we should have gone for him. We should have absolutely gone for him. But because we all could see Fabinho was done. We absolutely finished, run into the ground. Fabinho then leaves, then we try to get Romeo Lavia. Then we got a bit of, surely we got some sort of inkling that Caicedo wants to come to Liverpool. That's why we went and tried to do that deal. And obviously he said no. So how was that our fault? How was it a PR stunt if Jurgen Klopp came out and said, this is the player I want, if he's been agreed with the clubs? It can't be a PR stunt because they were willing to put the money on the table.
But Sarib,
so where's that money gone now then, Sarib? Where's that money gone?
That's the issue. Where's that money? That's the issue we have.
The money's under Klopp's mattress. He never spent it. It's still there. Somebody needs to go find which house he was living in and get that mattress and get the money out. But I think, look, we're still, these nuanced points about, not being able to find the player in the database. Once again, we're looking at symptoms here. They're the symptoms of the problem, right? Ultimately, we need to go to the root cause. And obviously, Adnan has alluded to the root cause, right? The root cause is the issue here is, and this is, hopefully we're going to spend on the following point, right? For the panel to speak on, is FSG have been in a position where they were extremely fortunate with Klopp, that with what he was given, the Klopp's magic beans allowed us to compete, right? And what is the early indicators from Slot is it seems like that's going to continue, basically. So they sat there thinking, whoa, hang on a minute. We think we can continue. So if I'm putting it together, look, FSG's fortunes, right, is, fortune with a 4, right, is basically the following, right? As long as we can achieve top 4, and as long as we can move the dial where at the moment we're worth around 3 billion, if we can get to 4 billion, that is FSG's definition of success. Unfortunately, we are the new Arsenal. I used to have a joke with my Arsenal friends, may the 4th be with you, right? And Bilal, please come in. I think that's the situation we're in, where the 4 is what we're doing. If we get a good cup run, if you get the quarters or the semi-finals of the Champions League, we've done really well because revenues have come in. I think this is the overarching problem is this lack of ambition, because with what we have currently means we'll meet the requirements for FSG for them to define success, and that doesn't match with my definition as a fan what our success would be.
But this is what frustrates me. These guys are businessmen. They made it clear 2 years ago that they were willing to sell the club. Surely, if you want the most, when you're selling something, you want the most for it, and the way you get that is through continuous success. You're not going to get as much for a fourth team place team than you are for a team that's consistently winning silverware. So that way, they're actually shooting themselves in the foot, aren't they?
No, but it's proportionate though. So I don't want to do a maths lesson here, right? And we've got accountants in the group, right? But it's proportionate in the sense that if you look at how much, as an example, I'm not going to give the exact figures, but as an overarching point, right? If you look at how much, let's take how much has Arteta had to be backed by to then get him in a position where he's now challenging City, and obviously last year they got quite close. They had a fall off. The fall off was actually an anomaly. They shouldn't have fallen off, right? In that sense, right? If you actually, if you're looking at it from a pure game point of view, it was a fall off that they should have done. But the amount he spent over the 500-600 million, whatever it is, over the last 4-5 seasons, means that he's now in a position where he's competing, right? So therefore, then if you look at that is the input that's gone in. From an output point of view, he's only kind of got to second. If you look at FSG, the amount that we've been inputting has been much less, but we've been vying for that second, and on occasion we've got first. Yes, we had one terrible year, where we didn't qualify for Europe, and that should have been the wake up call for FSG. That, listen, dudes, you're not investing, so you're not even going to get the Champions League money, right?
And it was because they invested last summer.
Yeah,
exactly. So my point is, why did it have to come to that point for us to then do it? Basically, because then there's a what's it called, sunken fallacy, right? In the sense that you're spending money when you're not forced to, and it works against you. And that's the thing here, is that their formula that they see, their Excel guys, right? Their formula that they see is that it's minimal investment in the club to then get the output that they see, and that has to change. As a fan, that for me is unfathomable.
And that's where I think Arsenal have shifted, because look at Arteta. He's had 7 odd keepers since he's been at Arsenal, and obviously the position that he took Arsenal from is not the position that Arne Slot will take, because our squads are far better. Look, he brought Aaron Ramsdale in, challenged for the title. Nothing wrong with Aaron Ramsdale. Maybe a bit shaky at times, but he thought, this guy, we can't win the league with Aaron Ramsdale on goal, because we got second, and he cost us games against Southampton at home and at Anfield, etc., etc. So he got replaced him, and he put David Raya in. But they also didn't win the league, and he's understood that. Okay, now we need a number 6 because we can't compete with Rodgers. So we need to
spend the money. They spend the money on Rice, but the underlying
Arsenal have changed. They've changed their ways. Their ownership has changed their narrative.
Exactly, that's the bit I want to. Happy for you to carry on the playing angle, but the reason why that's happened, so the macro reason for that is I've been following their, not for choice, but if you look at their ownership. For years, they had this kind of battle with Kroenke and Alisher Osmanov in terms of who becomes the lead shareholder. Then Lady Bracewell kind of shares. So then gave Kroenke the position that he had that, and then obviously Arteta said, "Look, if you want to compete, this is what I need." So there was a shift in, yes, they got a manager in that was able to then obviously play the style of football that we need that is actually needed to then challenge City. But also at the same time to then have the board level backing to then kind of spend the 100 million on Rice and whatever else they did. So they've had that backing to be able to compete, and unfortunately we don't have that backing right now.
Absolutely.
Adon, Bilal?
Yeah, like brother was saying, our model was what Arsenal are doing at the moment. What we should have done with Klopp was every couple of seasons they should have backed him up. We would have had more trophies. But the problem is that our owners are a bit too stingy. They like to just, when they need to spend it, that's the only time they'll spend. And that was the time last season that they had to spend because there were no Champions League.
Yeah, so they address the problem when it becomes a problem, rather than looking and be like, this could be a problem, then addressing it. Then they wait.
So it's like at the moment, if we look at next summer, we could lose Salah, Van Dijk, and Trent. You're trying to tell me you're going to replace them 3 players? No way. Not this ownership. So what are you going to do next season?
The frustrating thing is, like you just already said, you fix the roof on a sunny day, not when it's bloody rain pouring it down. Liverpool fans are reasonable. Asim said it, I think, this week as well. We're not asking for 100 million pound players here, 150 million pound player there. What we wanted over the years is just one player in this window, a couple of players in that window. Just keep it kicking, keep it moving forward, and planning for the future. And we've never had that.
Junior is the Fergie model. When Alex Ferguson at United, when he was doing what he was doing, he had this small formula that you tinker around. So we call it the Bauer's model, right? Bauer was fantastic. He would get 1 or 2 players in. Generally speaking, it was only one actually. where he knew that to keep to like look when you win something, everyone's looking at what you're doing, right? So you've got to go forward.
Just on that point,
Go for it.
was Klopp at fault as well for being too loyal to players? Asking for another contract for Henderson.
Of course.
Is that truly the fault of the owners? Like that, should Klopp take some responsibility there as well? Because, like you said, Fergie was ruthless. He had loyalty to his players, but he also understood where he needed to improve. And Klopp,
You've got to be ruthless, man.
He was too loyal to some players.
I think Bilal's data's come back. Thanks, Bilal. Come.
He was loyal, but I think he never got the backing, so that's why he said, "Look, at least let me keep my players that I can trust on." Because then he knew that they're not going to back him. The model that FSG had with him, they were lucky they got a manager like Klopp. I guarantee you, these owners, if they had some other manager, they had to sell the club. The only reason that they're still here is because of the success that Klopp has given us with the low budget. Imagine someone was having this conversation. Imagine Guardiola and Klopp swapped. And imagine how Klopp would have been so successful. He would have won everything with the Man City. Why? Because they would have backed him. Klopp's done miracle. That's why I like Klopp more than Guardiola, is because Klopp has done things from a low budget, from players that are not even known, and made them world stars. So you look at Klopp, what he's done with the low budget. Imagine he had a higher budget.
But maybe that's why FSG understood that we can't use the same model under Jurgen Klopp that we're going to use for the new manager, because the manager is not going to be as good as Klopp. As much as you want to say Arne Slot is not Jurgen Klopp, and he'll never be Jurgen Klopp. He might achieve great things at this club, but what Klopp took Liverpool from and what he took us to will never be achieved by anyone, definitely in the Premier League, or will be for a long time. So maybe that's why they brought Edwards, Hughes, etc., in to give us some sort of proper structure. So when the new manager comes in, it's going to be a bit easier for him, because Klopp had so much power and he did get a few signings wrong. You look at Darwin Núñez, his signing was wrong. It hasn't worked out. Klopp wanted Julian Brand instead of Mo Salah. He wanted Gelson Martins instead of Sadio Mane. So there's things Klopp has done as well that have been a bit questionable. And then the structure that we had in place, Michael Edwards, etc., said no, Salah will be a better fit for you. No, Mane will be a better fit for you. Firmino it can be the false nine for you, and it's worked out beautifully. So I think putting credit on Klopp is absolutely fine because he coaches the team, but we also have to look at the intel and how good the structure was previously. So now they've brought the structure back. We have to give them time.
I'm sorry, nobody's perfect, so we're not saying that obviously Klopp didn't make mistakes, and that those there's things around relationships, loyalty, around picking players. Did he have too much say, too little say? All of those things are the thing. But I think from an aggregate point of view,
Lars, can I interject? First of all, Assalamu alaikum to you and Adnan Bhai. Klopp wasn't allowed to make mistakes. Klopp wasn't afforded the luxury of making mistakes. Usually look at Pep Guardiola in his first season, he bought a goalkeeper, ousted Joe Hart, brought in another goalkeeper, he wasn't good enough. Bought four new fullbacks. He thought, you know what, they're not good enough. They're not up to my criteria of football. People keep saying, yeah, Enzo could have come, Bruno G could have come, Bruno Guimaraes. These players were given to Klopp, and Klopp said no. Because Klopp was in such a tight budget, he wasn't afforded that luxury. So he had to pinpoint with extreme accuracy to think, you know what, we're going to take a chance on this player. Look how unfortunate he was. He wanted Naby Keita, he wanted Thiago, who he said were the best two midfielders in the Bundesliga when he was, when they were there and they were coming through. And when they both came through, they both came crocked. And it's unfortunate. Ox got an ACL. And no one can take blame for that. That was just unfortunate due to injuries. As for FSG, listen, it's like a broken record. We're going back and forth and back and forth. These fans, some of these Liverpool fans, and listen, I don't care if people don't like it. The truth is, we've got defeatist, mediocre mentality. Do you know why Real Madrid are the best? Do you know why Real Madrid are royalty? Because as soon as they bag those trophies, they start again. And their fans demand success. Our fans are so naive. They're thanking FSG, and it's the devil the better you know. One Premier League in 32 years. Okay, I'm not going to hold FSG to account. They've been here since, 2010, 11? So one Premier League under their tenure and one Champions League. Listen, no one remembers second best. No one remembers runners-up. I don't care about silver medals. I don't care about finishing second. It's about winning. We're not here to take part. All due respect, we're not Ipswich. We're not Aston Villa, even though Aston Villa have got heritage and they've got a European trophy. Big up Arsenal. The point is about winning. The point is about winning. We're here to win. Real Madrid fans demand it. That's why Barca are laughing stock now compared to them. What do they call them? Thank you, FC, or congratulations, FC. I don't want to be that. These fans are saying, oh, FSG is our most vital period, it's our most successful period ever under their tenure. We won the World Club Cup, we won the Super Cup. Listen, those ain't real trophies for me. It's the Premier League or Champions League. Besides that, yeah, it's a good day out in Wembley. It's good for photographs, it's good to meeting friends and family. Those are the only two trophies that I care about. Beyond that, I don't really care. And the thing is, when the fans don't change their mindset, these people ain't going to know any different. FSG are going to continue. When it comes to business acumen, no one beats FSG. They're number one. They're not here for football. We've known that from day one. They don't care about football. They've never been here about football. And I appreciate that. But there comes a point when you've taken as far as you can. It's thank you, see you later, and good luck for whatever you do. But if we don't change that mindset, look, they didn't want the Qataris, and they made it into another kind of agenda altogether. Spirit of Shankly, you got them to thank for it. You got some of the match-going fans, some of the locals. I'm not going to brandish all of them under the same brush, but you had an opportunity to excel, to get ahead of the curve. And Sheza said it absolutely. Bava had vision. He knew you had to freshen the squad up. He knew you needed to bring one or two players in just to change you up. And that's exactly what they didn't do.
I think all of you make some very, very good points, but there's one man that's been very, very vocal on this call-in show about FSG's problems and the problems at Liverpool, and he's currently sitting in backstage waiting for his call-up. So I'm gonna bring him up, Mr. Albert. Long time no speak, but we always wanted to speak with you. Big support of the BNR. He's got his tracksuit on as well. How you doing, Albert? The boys have been so vocal
I'm
about
good.
FSG.
I'm good.
What do you want to talk about? Speak your mind. You always wear your heart on your sleeve.
Well, you know, our owners and the people who run our club, I don't even know how to differentiate them anymore. But they are in danger of turning all the moderates into ultras. Some of us have been talking about the gaslighting that they've been doing, and the same sleight of hand maneuvers that they've been doing every year. And now, it's coming home to roost. These people are telling us that we all knew going into this summer window that we needed to augment certain positions in our team. So we were told by the new director of football, oh, July was going to be slow, and then we're going to crescendo in August. I mean, I said it earlier on that if this is Richard Hughes' idea of a crescendo, I pity his bedroom, man, and I just leave it at that, because this ain't no crescendo for me, and it ain't no crescendo for most people. I mean, what are they doing? And when you say it, then you hear the Liverpool aligned Echo bunnies. No disrespect to the Liverpool Echo, telling us that some of the fan base want Liverpool to be like Manchester United or Chelsea. Who said that? I mean, is there no middle ground between spending foolishly like Chelsea and doing the augmentation that is needed to make our team great, to keep our team great? If you guys recall, 4 seasons ago, it used to be Man City and Liverpool. Now it's Man City, Arsenal, and maybe Liverpool. Everybody is augmenting their team. We've seen some have played 3, some have played 2. Isn't it clear to everybody that some of the teams have become inordinately stronger than they used to be last season because they've actually gone out and spent to augment the team? But we're sitting down and we're being told, Klopp left us a strong team. Okay, Klopp left us a strong team, but it was the same team that capitulated so badly at the end of last season. So do the arithmetic. That tells you the team ain't strong enough, right? And then we've heard some of them also telling us, How many players have Man City bought? Well, Man City didn't need to buy shit, right? But they actually bought Savinho. And anybody who tells me that Gundogan coming back to Man City doesn't make them stronger should check the brand of weed they smoke, right? Because the reason why you have teams doing well is squad depth. End of story. The reason why we didn't do well last season is because we didn't have a deep squad. When the players started getting injured and some of the main characters weren't able to show up, we didn't have anybody to replace them. That's what happened, right? We all watched. We spent more time at the top than any of the other people. But in the end, the stronger team came out, cruise control for a while. When their main actors came out, they won. So why is anybody telling us that? I mean, look at our October schedule. We are saying that we are going to face all the teams we are going to face. I think we faced Man City 4 days after we faced Real Madrid, right? So if, God willing, Gravenberch is not injured or suspended or in between, that's the halfback we're going to go use to face Kamavinga, Modric, what's the name? Tchouaméni, and then Rodri, maybe Kovacic. You know, it doesn't add up. And we've gotten to the point, I made this analogy. Some of us were born in places where the information minister can come and tell you on Independence Day that maternal mortality rate has reduced, when we all know the children are dying in the hospital. So for me, this thing is not new. What they're doing is not new. And if they want to imitate the banana republics, they should do it better. Okay? They are gaslighting the fans. They are doing this David Blaine things, sleight of hand. It's one thing, and then they pay the people who they pay for access to tell us something else. But slowly but surely, it's going to come home to roost. It is going. They're not going to get away with it. Unfortunately, when you say it, people tell you, "Oh, are you a match-going fan?" Well, whether you're a match-going fan or not, you buy merchandise. Whether you're a match-going fan or not, you actually pay subscription to watch Liverpool. And if you check, the broadcast rights come before merchandise, comes before gate receipts, right? And some of the fans, like me, do all three. So the point I'm trying to make, and the point I've been trying to make, most people have been trying to make, is that don't gaslight us. We are too big a team to be gaslit by people who don't want to spend. We have actually made an untidy profit this summer window. We are the only team to have made a profit, right? We've exchanged Bobby Clark for Chiesa in nominal terms. We've spent more money buying Marmalade or Marmalite, whatever it is you want to call him. We know we don't need him until next year because we've got the two best goalkeepers in the league, in my opinion. So what are we doing? You make the icing before you make the cake, and we are supposed to clap our hands and say, "Well done."
Albert, we had to make the new coffee place, so we needed some money.
Oh man, eat cornflakes doesn't make any difference, man. Eat cornflakes, it doesn't make no difference. I'm simply saying, look, we absolutely need to get serious, because some of the people who run our team are not serious, right? They're not serious. And when you talk about it, you're like, oh, keep quiet. When were you at Anfield? Well, bullshit, man. Get serious, because the last thing I want is to be tamed by Real Madrid like we were tamed by them 2 seasons ago. We don't want them to come to Anfield to come and beat us again. But the truth of the matter is, you can't go to a gunfight with a toothpick. It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. You go to a gunfight and you make sure you are as armed as hell. And when they shoot, you shoot. What are we doing? Anyway, their test is gonna start tomorrow, and I hope for their sake that they win, so that they shut all of us who are supposed to be the naysayers up. I'm happy to be wrong. Let's hope we go out there and go and win tomorrow. Because for me, my season begins tomorrow. My season didn't begin with Ipswich and Brentford. You know, with all due respect to Brentford, a few seasons ago, they were in the second division or the third division, something like that. So let's see what happens. Let's all just hope that the underwhelming off season that we've summer signing window that we've had, they have a plan. You know, because I was surprised when Tyler Morton didn't go out on loan or be sold. But then I sat there and it made sense to me. They have figured out that they need a backup to the backup because Curtis Jones is injured when the wind blew. Even before the season started, Curtis Jones is already injured. So they needed a backup to the backup. So let's just wait and see what they do. But slowly but surely, they are turning the moderates. I mean, today I heard so many people jump on Ian Doyle's case. I mean, it was like a complete meltdown when he compared us to Man City, Man United, and Chelsea. For fuck's sake, stop insulting our intelligence. Did we ever tell you we wanted Todd fucking Bowley to run our team? Is that what we told you? Who said we wanted to be buying players who get injured the day after they came to Anfield? That's not what we're talking about. But there's a midway between doing the right thing and being utterly foolish like they are being, and then telling us that we are not seeing what we are seeing. Because collectively, we've watched them for a long time. Most of us started supporting Liverpool because we saw the exploits of the Ronnie Whelans back in the day. Sarib, I know you're a little young, but back in the day, we actually had a ball-playing left-sided centre-back called Alan
Hansen.
what Alan Hansen, ball progressing. We had strong men, half backs like Jan Moby. We had, hard hitting centre backs like Mark Lawrenson, Gary Gillespie. We actually had a fullback who won Player of the Year. It's unfortunate that he's become a pansy on ESPN, but Stephen Nicol was a fucking good player in his day. Okay, so we've seen all that, and then we've seen the bad days. We've seen. Oh, I don't even want to mention names, but we've seen those days, and we thought that we had gone around the bend, we had gone over the cusp, and we were going to keep being great. Alas, our owners are not interested, and I dare say today somebody was saying it, and I kind of had to agree that they didn't expect Klopp to do as good as he did. And it actually didn't go down too well with them in ways that, we were winning and now we had to sustain being winners. What they were interested in, or what they have been interested in, is that we qualify for top four, qualify for Champions League, get them all the money that they need to run the team, since we are supposedly, self-sustaining. But now we are not self-sustaining anymore. We are not sustaining self, because we are making the money and sustaining something else. Whatever we are sustaining, I don't know, because we've actually made a profit. We've sold academy players. We've sold some. We've made good money, and then we're not using the money. So what are we using it for? But I know what the gaslighting is going to be. We are waiting till January, and we all know that January nothing will happen. We all know that nothing will happen, because now we've coined a new phrase: opportunistic
Albert,
signing. That, yeah.
Albert, in January, there's always the Christmas bargains you can look forward to.
But right now, they've given us a new lexicon called opportunistic. And opportunistic is completely subjective. So when they come and tell you they haven't seen the opportunity, there's nothing you can say. Nothing at all. But let's just go and win tomorrow. For me, beating Manchester United is more important to me than anything else. It's more important than winning the Champions League.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think obviously we've got to beat our most bitter rival. And as Junior said earlier on, for me, there are over the last couple of seasons, apart from the time when obviously we spanked them 7 the 7-0 victory, and obviously when
That was the
we
greatest
beat.
day. That's the
Yeah,
greatest day of my life as a Liverpool supporter.
yeah,
I
That's the
think
greatest day of my life.
I think 5-0 at Old Trafford is better.
yeah. And the
Nah.
Yeah,
fives.
well, on
That's
that
what I
day,
was literally just
I
about.
nearly got beaten up. I nearly got beaten up at Old Trafford. The police saved me.
7-0
So
was
I think
better because we advertised for 7-0.
yeah, exactly. So I think so. Apart from those two, the 7-0 at home, the 5-0 at Old Trafford, Salah banging a hat trick, right? They were great games, but they are once again anomalies for how we perform with United. For me personally, they've been our bogey team. I think even if you look, we don't have to go back, far back in history. Even last season, we were doing okay, and we went to Old Trafford. They knocked us out of the FA Cup, and that kind of derailed sort of our season. Bashi, what's your views? How are we doing against United tomorrow?
Yeah, mate, you talk a load of sense when you're on mute. Absolutely, bang on.
Assalamu alaikum, lads. How are you? Okay, you good? Albert, how are you, mate? You okay?
I'm good. I'm
Nice.
doing well.
What's going on, boy? Sorry, man. I'm a little bit late today because obviously I did family duties and everything. Sheza, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing good to see you, man.
That's
Yeah, I
good.
want to hear your thoughts,
That's
man.
good.
That's what we're waiting for.
So what's the topic? What we're talking about? FSG
Whatever
in
you
or
want.
out?
Whatever you want.
Where we've been talking about the window, we've been talking about Man U, we've been talking about
What window? We didn't see no window.
The window in my living room. That one.
Oh, this one.
that one.
That's the only window we see, bro. Absolutely atrocious, bro. This is the window that we've just had. Everything 6 left. It's left centre back, left back that we needed. Nothing got addressed. I've been very vocal on the group, as you all know. And bro, like I said a few weeks ago on the last calling show, FSG have taken us as far as they can. They're not ready for this club. Sarib, what do you think, mate?
What do you mean? What do I think?
I heard you on the call, the podcast yesterday.
Yesterday, what I said was, I think I'm going to try to make you understand is the best I possibly can. What I said yesterday was, I don't want to blame the ownership for this summer because they brought back people to this club that have done well for us in the past and we didn't complain about it. They brought us Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Robertson, etc., Fabinho. They facilitate all those deals. When Michael Edwards then came back to the football club, we all screamed and jumped in the air thinking, yeah, we threw our hats in the skies and jumped up and said, yes, Edwards back, Liverpool going to be back, whatever. Now it's gone wrong. How are you then pointing fingers at FSG? So you can't be excited if Michael Edwards is going to come to the football club. Then when it goes wrong, point fingers at FSG. You have to look at the people that are running the footballing operations of the club. But now you'll say to me in hindsight, they brought the people to the club in the first place. Absolutely fine. But the track record that they have displayed in the past, the Edwards, etc., has been really, really good. Hence why they came back, which is why we're all excited when they first initially came to the club. I'm speaking more so of the model. The model that FSG portray is incorrect. I was more so speaking, if we're going to use that model, then you can't point the fingers at them. The model's wrong in itself. But if you're going to use that model and you bring the right people back to the football club, you can't then blame FSG. They are to blame for many, many years. But I was more so speaking.
They're the reason we're going backwards.
Absolutely.
It's not Edwards, it's not Hughes.
That's why
backwards. We took many steps forward, and now we've just gone all the way backwards now. Who's that on?
That is on the ownership. And that's why I alluded to the point in previous summers.
So that's my point in it. They've taken us as far as they can. They're not taking us any further.
I agree with you. My point yesterday was relevant to the model that we're using. The model that we're using, if you're going to use that model, you can't then point fingers at FSG when they've brought the right people in charge to run that model effectively.
Well, obviously they haven't brought the right people in then because they haven't been doing their jobs.
Exactly. Then you have to point fingers at the people that are not doing their jobs.
From top to bottom, sorry, we're going backwards, mate.
I think what it is, I don't agree with the model. I'm going to display that to you. I don't agree with the model. This notion where you have to sign players between ages 22 and 26 and they have to be under 50 million pounds. I never agreed with that. But if you're going to use that model and then you bring back the people in charge that have funded this model in the correct way, you can't then point fingers at the ownership when it goes wrong on the people that are running the model, the footballing side. Because FSG have got nothing to do with the footballing operations of Liverpool Football Club. Their job is to make as much money as possible and fill their pockets. That's where they're wrong. But then if it goes wrong, when there's a structure in place, you got to look at the structure in place. But then you'll say to me, look at, they've brought the people back. I understand that. That's where they're incorrect. But we didn't say this when Edwards was brought back 3-4 months ago. That's the point I was alluding to. 4 or 5 months ago, we were all jumping in the sky saying Edwards is back, Edwards is back, Edwards is back. Now it's gone wrong. Now you're going to blame the ownership. To me, that doesn't make sense.
But
No,
isn't
you
there
lot jump up and
isn't
down
there a
having Liverpool.
notion that Edwards is back, but he's not actually his priority is not the players, is Hughes.
Yeah.
Because they
But that's
said that when Edwards has come back, he's actually a CEO. He's trying to get a model for FSG to go look for more clubs, certain types. So Edwards not actually he's not going to be actually, you know, where he first came, where he was finding us all these players. Hughes is
He's
that's
not
Hughes' job.
employed by a Liverpool Football Club. He's employed by
No,
FSG, isn't it?
yeah. So what is Hughes' job, not Edwards.
Edwards brought him in, and the
Yeah,
Liverpool
no,
journalists
they
have alluded
bought.
to that point.
No,
They've alluded to
they
that point.
bought him in, but it's Hughes' job. So it's between
Absolutely.
FSG and Hughes, not Edwards, because it's got
Absolutely.
nothing to do with Edwards.
Yeah,
This is the
absolutely
model
does.
that the model they bought in is Edward he's employed by FSG. He's dealing
CEO.
for
Yeah,
he's dealing for their businesses. That's what
absolutely.
his job is. For as a club, as Liverpool is Martin is Hughes and FSG.
Okay,
Now
so
when you look at
brought in Richard Hughes? Who brought in Richard Hughes?
FSG,
Who recommended Richard Hughes to FSG?
Edwards.
Edwards recommended it, but who employed him for Liverpool Football
Of
Club?
course, that's going to be FSG. Of course, that's
Yeah.
they're
So
the
now,
ownership.
yeah. So it's FSG's fault that they bought someone like Hughes, where they could have got someone else.
Like
Their
who?
job was to get the best. If you want to improve this club and get this thing forward, you're trying to tell me Hughes was the only guy out there.
Yeah, but
That you thought
you can't say that, but they're not give me a name of someone that you'd bring in. You're saying that you could have got somebody else.
Man
But who's that
United
someone?
have not won nothing for so long, and they've look at their structure now. They got a guy from Man City. They
Dan,
got a guy from Man City
Everyone
and
is
bought him.
improving. It's
So
just
FSG has been sleeping on our rollers that, oh, we're making money from Champions League. We're all right. We might as well just chill out. As long as we're making money, we're not bothered about Liverpool
that's
Football
why I
Club.
disagree with it. That's why FSG are incorrect in that sense, because they should be looking at the footballing operations aside, but they're only looking at it from a business standpoint. They have nothing to do with the football club in terms of how well they do on the pitch, etc., etc.
Yeah,
Their
so
job is to make as much money as possible. But you keep alluding to the point, and I thought this as well. Then I did some research, and David Lynch, etc., some few journals came out and reported on this. They said that it will not surprise me if Edwards is involved in Liverpool's transfers business, because he was the one that put Richard Hughes in that position. He's the one that recommended, oh, FSG employed Richard Hughes as your sporting director, bring Julian Ward back as your FSG's technical director. He asked for these people, Marquez and all these men that to come from Benfica and Bournemouth, etc. He brought these people to the football club because he deals with the footballing side of things. Michael Edwards has been in the sporting director role before. He knows how this eagle flies. He knows how it runs. He knows how to turn the car on and run the engine correctly, because he's done it before, and he did it to a very, very high level, which is why when he came back, we all jumped up and said, yes, Edwards is back. All of us, I'm pretty sure. I remember on the show with me, Asim, Cheen, and Avi, we all jumped in the sky when we got, here we go for Michael Edwards, all of us. And you can go back to watch that show in April when it happened. We all did it. So now you can't then complain when it's not gone your way. You can't then be like, oh, it's the ownership. So when they try to bring a proper structure in place, and now the structure hasn't worked, you're going to look at the ownership and be like, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. And that, I understand why you're going to do that. But if they employ the right people that have done well for this football club in the past, you then have to look at that structure and be like, that's wrong. That now, the reason why I'll give them some sort of like a leeway is this their first summer. Slott's been there for 3 months. Edwards has been there for 3 months. Hughes has been there for 3 months. A lot of new clubs have new structures. Manchester United have got a lot more business to do than we do, because they finished 6th in the league and and we finished 3rd. We need 1 or 2 additions. That's where I'm going to point the fingers at Hughes, etc., because they can't say Zubimendi or no one. They can't say this squad doesn't need improvement, because if the 2 teams above you are signing players to improve their team, then the team Liverpool, who finished 3rd, need those investments. And that's where you got to look at the structure they've put in place in that sense. But you can't.
Yeah, but if they've got a structure and they said, if FSG turned around and said, we're only giving you 50 million.
But we tried.
What kind of structure? Which structure is going to work if you're saying, oh, here's 50 million, go spend it?
This is what was my point was going to be. How much is Edwards and Hughes shackled by the structure of the ownership?
Yeah.
Surely that goes back to the ownership. What is our transfer budget this year? What was the transfer budget this year? Edwards and Hughes can only use the tools that they're given.
True.
If they've got a budget of, say, for this, remember last summer we didn't spend nothing. So, last summer you did, but the previous one before, so 2 windows, we didn't spend a lot apart from that last summer. So where's the 100 million of Casados? Where's the profit that they made over 200 million? They said nearly 300 they made. So they should have at least around about a budget of 250 for this summer.
And that's where you point the fingers at them because they
No,
haven't.
but that's FSG.
Absolutely.
They should have said, you have got a kitty of 250. You're trying to tell me Edwards, Hughes, and these lot could not spend 250 million this summer.
But to play devil's advocate, they did try to go for players. Anthony Gordon
No,
was a player.
there's no way that you tell me that Zubimendi was on top of their list, just one person. If you
That's where I look at Hughes because that's their job to find the players. That's their job.
But they haven't given a budget of a 250 to 300 million. They've only gave a budget of 50 million or 100 million. That's where the problem is. That's what we're trying to say, Sarib, is that FSGs, when it comes to pulling the cash out, they don't. This is where we're having the problems.
Okay, so who's the blame on for you, the ownership or the structure, or both of them?
It depends on what FSG have given to Hughes and Edwards to spend on. If you've got a structure, but they say to you, we're only spending 100 million, but to spend that 100 million, you need to make another 50 million. You have to sell some players. Now that structure is wrong, isn't it? He's got a budget of 50 million because they've already told them you have to sell 50 million in order to give you that 100 million. So you only give them 50 million. Where's the other 50 million that you're supposed to give us? You haven't given us that. You've sold 50 million. You said you were going to have a budget of 100 million, but you've only given us 50 million because the 50 million you made from sales, you haven't given us that money. So really, we should have had 150 million, but you only gave us 100 million. So this is where FSG is always to blame, is because they don't give us the money from the sales as well. Whenever we wanted to get a player, you want to tell me where's that money for Jude Bellingham? They said that we had guaranteed. They didn't give us it. So this is always the problem with FSG, is the model is good, but it's outdated now.
Absolutely.
When we had the chance to sell, they should have sold, because they got to us. They got our club as far as they can. They did a brilliant job from where we were. I can remember when we had Hughes and
they didn't do a brilliant job. They done an all right job, Sufi Saab.
No, I'm saying, but if you look at where we were with Roy Hodgson, we were crying. We thought our club's going to go down the drain.
At the non-stop, I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you're at the top, you know what proper clubs do? They improve. They do not stand still, or they do not go in reverse.
No, that's what I'm saying. They got us to a point where they got us to the top. If they couldn't carry it on, they should have sold the club.
The only thing that they done right was employ Jurgen Norbert Klopp. And you're all going to find out this season. When it comes to May, and you're not doing all this, that, the other now, thinking it's all slot ball, this, that, the other, you're in for a big treat, lads.
Don't say me.
Don't say me. No, I'm going to say it how it is, bro. I'm not one of these that, sugarcoat shit. It's a new manager. It's a new club. It's a new environment. Everything is new for him. And you still didn't give him the tools for him to perform.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like giving a plumber no toolbox. He's got a van, but he's only got 2 tires on there. How do you expect him to get to work? But do you know what it is? These top reds, when they say, yeah, we've done this, we've done that, the team's in a good way. The team is in a good way for a Klopp team, not a slot team. And we're going to get found out.
They will.
Some people don't want to hear it. Most people don't want to hear it. They're going to say meltdown, this, that, the other. Brother, it's going to come. Come May, when we're in 7th or 8th, which is it's a possibility. 100% it is. A couple of injuries to this team, you've got Endo at centre-back, brother.
Albert?
And you've got Darwin, you pointed Bondo up front. Apu Saab like him.
Yeah, I mean, the sentiments around the house is exactly how most of the supporters feel. I have a very good friend who gets my tickets for me for Anfield when I come over. He's called Frank, and Frank is so livid that he doesn't even think players like Elliot and Curtis Jones belong to Liverpool. He thinks they should be sold. He thinks, and this is a local lad who travels with the team everywhere. He watches every single match we play. He thinks that we have no business even having people like Elliot at Liverpool because they are not good enough. I just think that we are at a point where this season especially has been a mixture of miserliness and incompetence. And when you have that toxic mix, it looks really bad. Richard Hughes completely failed. And frankly, if he was working in any serious corporate organization, he would have been fired by now. Right? Because his incompetence is stuck. Liverpool is not Bournemouth, right? You can't go and come and tell us that there was only one player I was looking to sign and fill a position. That player refused to come. First of all, you should have known that he has a habit of doing that. That's even aside, right? And assuming he refused to come, don't tell me you didn't have plan B. Because Liverpool's history is littered with plan Bs. Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, John Barnes, Gini Wijnaldum, Diogo Jota. I mean, we were going to get Timo Werner, and we got Jota instead. So they can't tell us that they don't know the history. If for any reason Zubimendi refused to come, and you really have the money, for those of you who watched the Copa America, the Colombians fielded a 6 called Richard Rios. Is anybody telling me Richard Rios can't do what Zubimendi was supposed to come and do? Can anybody say that? Has anybody seen Anton Stark playing? He plays for Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim is not far away. Are you saying Anton Stark can't do what Zubimendi was supposed to do? Indeed, before Zubimendi played one half of the Euro final, who even knew him? So they are manifestly incompetent. And then there's the element of the penny pinching, which has become very stale. You know, like the others, like Adnan is saying, others are investing. If you don't invest, you stand still. And in the worst case scenario, you retrogress. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see what happens come, the running. And then we'll know what to say to them. And I hope they don't come up with another next summer. I hope PS is not going to write another next summer. Oh, they don't know, they don't have the profile. The profile has
As long as
changed since
FSG are
Klopp
here,
left.
get used to it, Albert. As long as FSG are here,
Yeah,
get used to that term.
I'm
Get
getting
used to
used
that
to
term.
it,
The
my
right
brother. I
player is not
really am,
available.
because it's been going on for
Bro,
4 years.
any CDM, a decent CDM, even a 5 or a 6 or even a 7 out of 10 CDM would improve this Liverpool squad.
I mean, people are saying Endo improved our squad, so we couldn't do any worse than Endo, could we? Really?
Exactly.
I mean, think about it. We sat there, we say we wanted slot ball. And around this table, all of us watch football. So nobody can tell us any stupid things. If we were really serious, would we have sat there for Douglas Lewis to have gone to Juventus? Are we saying we can't pay Douglas Lewis more money than Juventus are paying him? We couldn't have the 50 million euro to pay for Douglas Lewis. How much were we going to buy Zubimendi? And is Douglas Lewis not a manifestly better player than Zubimendi? How much did PSG end up paying for what's his name? Is it Joao Neves? Is that his name? How much did they end up paying for him? 63 million euro. How much is Joao Gomez going to cost? How much did Andre Trinidad end up costing Wolves? So should I keep going on? So for those people who are paid the 7-figure sums, riding in their Rolls Royces and their Porsches, they don't know all what I know. What business do they have being where they are? I think Richard Hughes should go back to Bournemouth, right? Because since he left Bournemouth, even Bournemouth have bought players. Right, he's not a Liverpool DOF, and this friends and family thing that Edwards has started doing. I mean, many of us were really, really happy to see that FSG had changed the structure. But the truth be told, you can see why Klopp was at odds with him. Because football is not about sitting behind your laptop and hitting the return button. It's about keeping your eyes fucking open and watching the fucking game. Right? Hit the return button, hit the delete button. Is that football? They have really disappointed. They've really been mediocre. It's been, like I said, I'm not even, somebody said rate them out of 10, I'm giving them a -10 because they owe us money. Where's the money they got from selling the players? Why aren't they using it? Why aren't they using it? We sat there, we knew Adam Wharton was playing with Tyler Morton at Blackburn. We knew about it. We didn't buy him. Somebody goes to buy him for 20 million, and now we are running around saying we are going to pay 100 million for him. We really think that we are going to pay 100 million for Adam Wharton? Let's get serious, man. Liverpool, get serious. We are just joking. We really are joking.
And the kids we do buy, we just sell them for a profit anyway. It's just it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll sell anything for a profit. We will sell anything for a profit. Sooner or later, we are going to start selling the kitchen sink in the pantry at Kirkby for profit. We'll sell anything. It's mind-boggling. It's just you know. And when I mean. When some of the rival fans are laughing at us, you can't say anything. I mean, yes, we don't want to be Chelsea, but come on, man. We deserve a little bit of decency. I mean, a little bit of decency is good.
It's gonna
Let's
be
see what happens now.
It's going to be a long road season. But just before I end the stream, guys, I do want I think the main topic is we should be discussing is that we got a big game tomorrow. So I'm going to go around the table and even myself, I'll give you my prediction. But we'll start with you, Albert. Manchester United versus Liverpool at Old Trafford. We haven't won there in a couple of years. How do you think the game will go and what do you think the score will be? Give me a score prediction. You're on mute, Uncle. You're on mute.
Manchester United has never been easy. That is why I appreciate the times when we humiliate them. Yeah. I think tomorrow we have another opportunity to humiliate them. If all systems go for us, we should be able to win. But first of all, I want the 3 points. Arsenal have dropped 2 points today. These are the times when we take advantage of Arsenal dropping points. Because if we win, we are 9 points, they are 7. The big boys are going to come. And if you have a point cushion somewhere along the line, good for you. So let's go out there, go and win.
What's your score prediction?
Oh, I would take a 2-1. I'll take a 2-1.
Agree with me.
None?
Yeah.
I'm going for another 2-0.
Clean sheet?
Yep.
Brave. Bashi?
3-0. Jota brace. Salah.
Is that with your heart or with your mind?
Everything's with the heart, brother.
You
If I speak my mind, you can't. If I speak my mind, you'll be going till 6 o'clock in the morning.
This and this. 3-0 is fair. Junior?
You don't understand, Sarib, mate. Yesterday, I wanted to come on as well yesterday, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Custom. It's disheartening, man. It's disheartening. I might just go on holiday after the United game tomorrow.
If we lose, definitely. Junior, what about you? Score prediction for tomorrow?
I said earlier 2-1. Jota, Salah, and I think we'll concede to Rashford. But 2-1.
I've gone a bit on the fence.
Sarib's going to say 1-1 as usual.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say 1-1. That's what I was going to say. I think Albert made good points. I think Old Trafford is not a great ground for us. And against Man United, especially in these games, you say we're going to humiliate them, but we still have the same forwards as we do last season. The difference might be Jota, but I just don't see it personally. I think I will take a point at Old Trafford, I'll be honest. Regardless of what you say, it's a good result. Going away to United, it's not an easy place to go. Arsenal got a 1-0 last season. City, I know they thrashed them, but it's not an easy place to go, especially for us. Even our best teams struggled to win there. That year, we went on that magnificent run of 26 games unbeaten, 27 games unbeaten. The only draw we had in that period was at Old Trafford. And they were really shit then too. So I want us to win. I'm gonna hope for a win, but I'm gonna sit on the fence and say 1-1. I'm gonna say 1-1. I guess we'll see tomorrow. But it's been a really, really good stream. Me and Junior, 2 hours and 9 minutes. All the contributors that have come on today, thank you very, very much. We will do more of these as the seasons comes in. Bashi, Albert, Adnan, Bilal, Junior, thank
Take
you
it
all for
easy,
your
boys.
time. And ultimately, we all want to be happy. So let's hope tomorrow the show is going to be with
I think tomorrow will be good.
Hopefully
I think
tomorrow the club's up for sale.
we'll just shade it. We'll just shade it. I
Yeah.
think because we
Breaking
don't
news,
have
Qatar
that
buying
we
us.
don't have that donkey up front. So chances of missing chances are going to be few and far between. We will
If
have
Jota stays fit, Albert, I think we have a chance. There's a big difference, Jota and
If Jota
Nunes.
stays fit, that's like it's a
It's
sine
not
qua
just
non.
Jota though. You got
If he
to keep
stays fit,
Kanate fit as well. If you manage Kanate, I don't see. That's why I said nil. With a fully fit Kanate and Van Dijk, I don't see no attack. No attacker from United getting through that defense.
But I
the,
think,
the
That's
truth of
our
the
double
the truth of
plus
the
our
matter,
double
Adnan, is
our
you
double
don't take
pivot is going to
inexperience.
help as well.
You don't take
Yeah, so
inexperience to Old
we
Trafford.
we create the chances. I don't see United. They don't create much. All right, it depends if Bruno's on one, but when is he on one? There's nothing there for him realistically. So that's why I said 3-0 to Liverpool. But like I said, boys, hopefully the club will be up for sale soon. We can only hope.
Let's see what happens. But I know there's 2 more things in there, but we are ending the stream now, guys. Thank you all for coming. And
Boys,
inshallah,
take it easy, love.
Liverpool beat Man United at Old Trafford. We hope and pray. Take care, guys.
Take it easy.